English learners. Welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And my name is Catherine. And today we're talking about something very, very important in the computer age.
Internet
and internet connections.
Right. I think, so many people use the internet now and have it, but it's sometimes a little bit complicated to maybe get a plan, or maybe if you're not too familiar with the terms, that's what we're going to be looking at today.
So listen out for some of these words today. We're talking on the phone with someone who's going to help us get a plan. When we come back, we'll be talking all about what some of these words and phrases mean. So if you're confused, just wait a couple seconds and we'll be back.
Welcome to Galanet. How can I help you?
Hi, I would like to get an internet plan for my house.
Of course. We have 3 different plans with different prices you can choose from. The first one is the cheapest, but most basic plan, which is $30 a month. This is for broadband internet, with a download speed of 512 kbps.
I have no idea what kbps means. I just want to be able to get online, play games, and chat with my friends. Oh, and watch movies online as well.
Well, this connection might be a bit too slow for your needs. I suggest you get the premium package for $50 a month, which includes a connection speed of 2 megabytes. That way, you can play games online without any lag. This package also includes a wireless router and a personal firewall, absolutely free.
Do I have to pay an installation fee?
Lucky for you, this month we aren't charging our normal installation fee. You are saving yourself $100 right there. And we'll throw in this pen drive.
Awesome!
All right, so interesting. A lot of these technical terms specifically for internet and computers and connection and all that stuff.
Yeah, and the nice thing about some of these words is that they can be used in other ways as well. So we've been learning about these and expanding our vocabularies, but they're useful in many other contexts as well.
Okay, so let's get started with these words now in language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
So this first phrase, for example, is something that you see advertised all the time, and it's a kind of internet connection.
Broadband internet.
Okay, so internet is pretty clear, but broadband, you might be asking, what the heck can this mean?
Okay, so you have broad.
So broad means wide.
Wide, And a band is basically kind of like a frequency at which something works.
Like bandwidth.
Bandwidth, So you have broadband, you have fast or high-speed internet.
That means the bigger the space is, the more information can be transferred. So it's a fast connection, essentially.
Exactly. Before broadband, we had dial-up internet. Yeah.
Remember AOL?
Yeah, exactly.
So it was slow.
You had to use your modem and call a number and then get connected by telephone. So it was a dial-up connection, but it was so slow.
And every time it broke, the connection would break. You had to dial up again and go through the whole process. It was so annoying.
Exactly. So fortunately now not many people use dial-up anymore, and we have broadband internet. Now if you have broadband internet, it's really convenient because you can download any type of application or music, videos, etc.
Right. So this is another key computer word that actually has a couple of different uses. For example, as you said, you can download music or download photos. That means you find a photo on the internet that you like, and you could save it on your computer. But you can also have a download, so it can be a thing too.
Okay, so if maybe you're downloading 3 different files, you have 3 downloads.
Okay, so to download and download.
Very good. So now in internet, you have different speeds, as we talked about, right? How fast you're downloading something. And the guy mentioned 512 kbps.
Oh no, not another one of these kbps. So this one's pretty simple. You can think about kilobytes. You've heard about megabytes, kilobytes. This is a size.
How fast you can receive these packets of information. So 512 kilobytes per second.
Per second, I have no idea how much that is. It's maybe a lot. It sounds like a lot.
Right. Well, basically, it is a lot, but we saw later that he was asking for a connection speed of 2 megabytes.
Ooh, so mega is bigger than kpbs, right?
Right.
All right. So these are different speeds of transferring information, right? So this is a way for you to see what kind of internet plan you want.
Exactly. And so you have kilobytes, we have megabytes, and basically you want a faster connection speed because you want to avoid lag.
Ooh, lag. All right. This is a word that you can use in a lot of different ways. For example, my brother always lags behind. Okay, so it's a verb, but in this case, we're talking about the noun. So lag is slowness.
Yeah, it's like a delay.
It's a delay in something. So in this case, I can't even play my video games because there's too much lag. So that means the internet's too slow.
It's too slow, exactly. So that's what happens when you have a slow connection speed, you have lag. And as you can say, it refers to something that's slow or delayed. So you can use it in other contexts when you want to say something is a little bit slow.
Well, and another key thing here, as we're talking about internet connections, is the router. So router is something that helps us to route an internet connection. So, for example,
So it basically distributes the internet connection to different computers or to different users.
and some of these you plug in, and some of them are wireless. That means without a wire. So a wireless router is something, a little box in your house that allows you to maybe have 3 or 4 computers on one broadband connection.
Right. So it's very popular now. You go to Starbucks and you have Wi-Fi. In order to have Wi-Fi or wireless internet, you need a router, a wireless router.
Okay, so wireless router. And finally, what is something that might get in the way of a connection?
You have a firewall. Very important security measure when navigating the internet.
All right, so a personal firewall is a firewall that you have on your computer to keep people from spying on you. This keeps other people out.
So it's exactly that. It's a wall between your computer and the outside world. So it protects you from any type of maybe malicious intruders.
Right, and oftentimes governments and public offices, things like that, law offices, they have firewalls to protect the information that they store because it's so important that it's secretive.
Yeah. So firewalls, there are many different types of firewalls, but a personal firewall is just a basic one.
Great, so that is our language takeaway for today. Let's check out this dialogue again and slow it down a bit this time.
Welcome to Galanet. How can I help you?
Hi, I would like to get an internet plan for my house.
Of course. We have 3 different plans with different prices you can choose from. The first one is the cheapest, but most basic plan, which is $30 a month. This is for broadband internet with a download speed of 512 kbps.
I have no idea what kbps means. I just want to be able to get online, play games, and chat with my friends. Oh, and watch movies online as well.
Well, this connection might be a bit too slow for your needs. I suggest you get the premium package for $50 a month, which includes a connection speed of 2 megabytes. That way, you can play games online without any lag. This package also includes a wireless router and a personal firewall, absolutely free.
Do I have to pay an installation fee?
Lucky for you, this month we aren't charging our normal installation fee. You are saving yourself $100 right there, and we'll throw in this pen drive.
Awesome!
All right, great. So we just heard all these words that we looked at before, but now why don't we take a look at some of these phrases in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
What's this first one? I can't read it.
I have no idea.
What? Well, didn't you write it down?
I have no
on,
idea
Marco.
what you're talking about.
All right, enough games. No, I have no idea. This is we're just gonna treat this as a phrase that gets said as is. We're not gonna take bits and pieces of it. So I have no idea, or he has no idea, is a way to say, listen,
I don't know.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Right. The guy was talking about KBPS and all these things, and the other guy was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't understand.
And I can definitely empathize.
You can relate.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave that for another one. But after this, we've got bucks. All right. So bucks. What is this slang?
Bucks. $100. $200.
A lot of money.
Right. So bucks is basically another way of saying dollars.
All right. So this is a way this is a way that most Americans talk about money. It's $1 is $1 US. All right. So could I borrow $10, Marco?
Right. So yeah, sure. There you go.
Cool.
Now, bucks, you can only use it for American currency, right? You can't use it for like euros or...
No.
You can't say like 10 euros would be 10 bucks. Right?
No. Usually you say this about American dollars, and you say this just when you're hanging out, or how much does this cost? Oh, $5. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very good. So the guy was telling him about the price of the internet and everything, and he said that he's going to throw in a pen drive, right?
He's going to throw it?
He's going to throw it at him. No, he's going to throw in a pen drive for free.
Oh, sweet. So throw in means to add.
Or include.
Include. So listen, sir, here's your large popcorn, and I'm going to throw in a small Diet Coke for free.
Wow.
How generous of me.
So you throw in something, you include it for free, right?
Exactly. So this is usually a complimentary item.
Mm-hmm. Great. I think this word is really interesting, or this phrase. So why don't we listen to a couple of other examples using throw in?
Example 1.
If you buy 2 pizzas, we will throw in another one for free.
Example 2. Tell you what, I'll buy this computer if you throw in a pair of headphones. Deal? Example 3.
The salesman threw in a subscription to the local newspaper for buying his product. Isn't that great?
All right, great. So good examples. I think it's clear now, the phrases, all these words related to the internet.
Absolutely, and so useful.
Right, so why don't we listen to this dialogue for the last time, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more.
Welcome to Galanet. How can I help you?
Hi, I would like to get an internet plan for my house.
Of course. We have 3 different plans with different prices you can choose from. The first one is the cheapest, but most basic plan, which is $30 a month. This is for broadband internet, with a download speed of 512 kbps.
I have no idea what kbps means. I just want to be able to get online, play games, and chat with my friends. Oh, and watch movies online as well.
Well, this connection might be a bit too slow for your needs. I suggest you get the premium package for $50 a month, which includes a connection speed of 2 megabytes. That way, you can play games online without any lag. This package also includes a wireless router and a personal firewall, absolutely free.
Do I have to pay an installation fee?
Lucky for you, this month we aren't charging our normal installation fee. You are saving yourself $100 right there, and we'll throw in this pen drive.
Awesome!
So the internet, it's a big deal nowadays, and now you can do so much on it. Not only navigate websites anymore, but watch movies, download applications, photos, Facebook, all this type of things now that you can do on the internet.
You can even do it from your phone, like when you're in the bathroom or on the train. I mean, it's scary. We're always connected.
Right. So it's interesting. You're always connected. You're always online with people, and it's actually very noticeable when you maybe live somewhere else. Before, you used to have to write letters. I don't think many people receive handwritten letters anymore.
Never. I'm speaking for myself. I never receive, and I don't write them either. So
yeah.
I guess I'm guilty of it.
So now people just send emails. Obviously, it's more convenient, but maybe it's a little bit less significant, maybe, than actually going to the post office or taking the time to write a letter, going to the post office and stuff.
Well, I don't know. There's something nice about having a physical thing you can hold on to, but I wonder if one day we're going to forget how to write.
Yeah.
You know, like write with a pen.
With a pen and pencil, exactly.
We're going to have these little PDAs and these little iPhones, and they're going to talk, and they're going to take everything down in note form for you.
Well, now it's kind of happening with the Kindle, right? Now you can have books on this electronic device that lets you read through them, and
you can carry 100 books with you to the beach.
So now you don't even really need physical books anymore, which is good on some level, because you're saving trees and space and all that stuff. But
there's something, I don't know, physical about reading a book. You hold it, you flip the pages, you know how many pages you have left. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll be a convert one day, but for now, I'm good with paper books.
All right. So, what do you guys think about the internet, about electronic books?
You can also tell us any problems or confusion you have with the things that we talked about today. Hopefully everything is clear, but if not, we are here to answer your questions. We like to do so. So check out our website, englishpod.com.
All right. We'll see you guys there. And until next time.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. A fast internet connection.
Broadband internet.
A device that allows data to be transferred between individual computers and networks.
Modem.
Act of transferring data between computers.
Download.
Form of broadband internet service delivered over telephone network. Relatively slow.
Digital subscriber line.
Form of broadband internet service delivered over cable television network. Relatively fast.
Cable internet.
Over the internet.
Online.
An individual's necessary requirements.
Someone's needs.
Software which detects harmful viruses on a computer.
Antivirus software.
A delay.
Lag.
Not using wires to send and receive data.
Wireless.
Device used to protect a computer against intruders.
Firewall.
Process of making ready for use.
Installation.
To offer for free.
Throw in.
Let's try that faster. Form of broadband internet service delivered over telephone network. Relatively slow.
Digital subscriber line.
A device that allows data to be transferred between individual computers and networks.
Modem.
A delay.
Lag.
Not using wires to send and receive data.
Wireless.
Over the internet.
Online.
Process of making ready for use.
Installation.
Device used to protect a computer against intruders.
Firewall.
Form of broadband internet service delivered over cable television network. Relatively fast.
Cable internet.
Software which detects harmful viruses on a computer.
Antivirus software.
Act of transferring data between computers.
Download.
To offer for free.
Throw in.
A fast internet connection.
Broadband internet.
An individual's necessary requirements.
Someone's needs.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Download. Now that I have broadband internet, I can download music and videos for free. Download. This website has a lot of free software that you can download. Download. That's a big file you are trying to download. It might take up to 3 hours to complete. Someone's needs. This software is designed to meet all your needs. Someone's needs. You don't take into consideration my needs when making these decisions. Someone's needs. To understand the needs of your children, you should talk to them regularly. Wireless. Our office is installing a new wireless network so that we can use our laptops and smartphones. Wireless. I love the fact that the PS3 has a wireless controller. It's much more convenient. Wireless. My new sound system comes with a pair of wireless speakers. Now I can play music anywhere in the house. Firewall. We have a firewall at the office which prevents us from accessing sites such as Facebook and MySpace. Firewall. It's important to have a good firewall set up to prevent unauthorized access to your network. Firewall. I always turn off my firewall because it prevents me from opening certain websites. Throw in. If you buy 2 pizzas, we will throw in another one for free. Throw in. Tell you what, I'll buy this computer if you throw in a pair of headphones. Deal? Throw in. The salesman threw in a subscription to the local newspaper for buying his product. Isn't that great?
Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And my name is Catherine. And today we're talking about being on the road.
Yeah, we're going to be on the road, but we're going to encounter a little bit of car problems.
My favorite kind.
Yeah, I think it's happened to everyone. You're on the road, or maybe you're coming back from work. You get a flat tire, or something happens to your car, right?
And it's always when you're in a rush.
And most of the time, it's raining.
Yeah. Or snowing. So all of the circumstances definitely, well, they don't help, let's just say. All right, so before we listen to this dialogue, let's take a look at some of the words in today's vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
All right, so we're going to take a look at 2 words. They're kind of strange, I don't know, kind of difficult to understand, so that's why we're going to explain them. The first one is spew, to spew.
It's a verb, okay? To spew, well, what can spew? A volcano can spew.
Exactly.
An engine can spew. A person can spew.
Yeah, that's not very nice.
No.
So basically, it's to like expel or to
Shoot out
from your mouth or something liquid. So in the case of a person, right?
So if a person spews, it means a person throws up, but it's usually very forceful. All right, it's very messy. A volcano can spew lava.
Exactly. So a volcano is spewing lava. Now, for the next word that we have, it's an informal way of saying that something is broken.
We could say it's busted.
It's busted. My DVD player is busted.
Man, my phone is busted.
So it's an informal way, very popular, very common, I would say, to describe that something is not working. I don't think many people actually say, well, it's broken or it's damaged.
Yeah, they're pretty much mixed, I think. But you will definitely hear busted if you're talking to native English speakers.
Or even, like, for example, your arm. Oh, he's got a busted arm.
Exactly. So busted.
All right, so let's listen to our dialogue for the first time. Let's see what's going on with this car trouble, and then we'll come back and explain some things.
Howdy. Nice car. What seems to be the problem?
I don't know. This stupid old car started spewing white smoke and it just died on me. Luckily, I managed to start it up and drive it here. What do you think it is?
Not sure yet. How about you pop the hood and we can take a look? Doesn't look good.
What do you mean? My daddy gave me this car for my birthday last month. It's brand new.
Well, Missy, the white smoke that you saw is steam from the radiator. You overheated your engine, so now the pistons are busted, and so is your transmission. You should have called us and we could have towed you over here when your car died.
So, how long is this gonna take? An hour?
I'm afraid a bit more than that. We need to order the spare parts, take apart your electrical system, fuel pump, and engine, and then put it back together again. You were gonna have to leave it here for at least 2 weeks.
What? How am I supposed to go to school or go shopping? This is not happening. So if I were the mechanic, I would not be very happy to be dealing with someone like this girl.
I think it's well, maybe it's a little bit stereotypical that we put it as a girl, because guys and girls, so many people don't know anything about cars or mechanics. Right?
And in the States, there's a lot of female mechanics too, so it's it's mixed.
Yeah. But definitely it's something that happens all the time, and probably the mechanic will overcharge her as well, because apparently she doesn't know what she's doing.
And that's one of the reasons we want to give you the vocabulary to deal with these situations. So let's look at some of those car words in today's language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, so we're going to take a look at very specific words related to cars and the engines and everything. So let's start with the first one.
Radiator.
Radiator. All right, so the radiator of the car.
So a radiator is something that you normally find in the front of the car near the engine. It usually gets very, very hot, right?
Yeah.
So one of the big issues is radiators getting too hot because there's no way to cool them down.
So if you live in a place that's very hot, the radiator keeps your engine cool because it has water in it. So if it overheats, or maybe you didn't put enough water in there, then it'll start spewing steam, like in this dialogue.
And if you have a problem with your radiator, you could actually do a lot of damage to your engine, which is why this is important.
Exactly, and that's what happened in this dialogue. So a radiator. Now, because the radiator wasn't working well, it overheated the engine, and he said they had some busted pistons.
So broken pistons. Pistons are important because they're kind of like valves that go up and down.
Right, so inside your engine you have mini explosions and the pistons move up and down, and that's what actually moves your car.
Right, and so pistons in general are things in mechanics. So like a trumpet has pistons, things that go up and down and that allow for the flow of
Air or something like that. Very good. So that's a piston. And well, another very common mechanic term is the transmission.
All right, so the transmission, what happens if your transmission dies? Can you still drive?
You basically can't move, or maybe you only have one gear or two gears.
All right, so think about transmission as coming from the word to transmit. That means to transfer. Right.
So this is the part of the car that transfers energy or the power to actually move the car. So the transmission.
And we've got the mechanic who says, well, we've got to order you some spare parts. So first, let's look at the word spare. What's another word for spare?
Additional, maybe
Extra?
Extra.
Right, so spare means extra. Parts are, well, pieces. So he's talking about ordering a new transmission, new pistons, things to replace the broken things.
Spare parts. So this is where you go to the mechanic to get some spare parts and get them installed.
You probably don't have many spare parts at home, right? You got a transmission lying around.
Well, yeah, so spare parts. And the last word that we're going to take a look at is a fuel pump.
Okay, so a pump is you could have a bike pump,
A water pump.
water pump. So these are some things that we use very, very often. But a fuel pump is something that allows gasoline, to get into your engine.
So it's basically a device that pushes gasoline into the engine so you can start. And that's the same thing with the water pump. It's a device that pushes water.
Or an air pump is something that pushes air into your tires on your bicycle.
Exactly. So a fuel pump, water pump, etc.
Wow, I feel like we know a lot about cars.
Yeah, apparently we do, see? All right, so now that we've taken a look at all of these great words, let's move on to a couple of phrases in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
All right, these are phrases that you hear sometimes when you're talking about electronics, but in today's lesson, we're also talking about specific car phrases, so you're going to hear these all the time at the mechanics.
Right, and the first one is, the car suddenly died on me.
All right, to die on. So we keep these two words together, die on. Oh, man, so while you were driving, your car died. It stopped moving.
So that means that it doesn't work anymore. And it's not only for cars, right? You can say my MP3 player died on me today.
Exactly. And what it means is it's not like you left it and you forgot about it and you tried it again and it didn't work. It means while you're using it, it dies.
Exactly.
It doesn't work.
So I think this phrase is a good one to give some other examples. So let's listen.
Example 1.
My CD player died on me, and I had to listen to the radio.
Example 2.
Get that medicine over here fast or this guy's gonna die on me.
Example 3.
I forgot to charge my mobile phone. It's gonna die on me soon.
And so this next one is a phrase you hear. The first thing you hear maybe when you tell someone you have a car problem.
Right, you tell them to pop the hood.
Or let's pop the hood. So this means let's open the front part of the car, the hood, to look at the engine, transmission, all those parts.
Exactly. So you can say open the hood, but the most common one is pop the hood.
So the reason is because there's a little spring and you
Yeah.
have to pull inside the car and it goes pop,
Yeah.
and there's a little jump.
Yeah,
the hood
exactly.
jumps. So it's literally popping.
Right. Or you can also say the trunk, right? The back part of the car.
Hey, can you pop the trunk for me? I've got to put some stuff inside.
Exactly. So pop the hood, pop the trunk.
And next we've got this girl actually who's talking about her car because she just got this car. So it's another way to say it's a new car.
It's brand new.
Is that more new than new?
It's like newer than you.
All right, so brand, you think about brands like Ford or Gucci. These are brands, but brand new means she maybe got it like today.
So it's brand new. It's very, very new.
Did you see my brand new watch?
Wow, it is nice. Where'd you get it? All right, so brand new. And well, the last phrase that we have for you today is to take apart something.
All right, so this is very popular with young children. Like they like to take things apart so they can find out how they work. But to take apart means to take all the pieces and to pull them out.
Yeah, I used to do that a lot when I was a kid. I used to take apart any electronic device to kind of see how it works, and then I would try to put it back together again. And
That's why you're so smart.
well, it never really worked. It worked half the time.
So the problem is always putting them back together again, right?
Exactly. So you can take it apart, but then you put it back together, and there's always a screw missing, or a screw that's extra, or 2 or 3 parts. It's very
Not
weird.
a good sign.
All right, so we've taken a look at a lot of great words and phrases, so let's listen to this dialogue for the last time.
Howdy. Nice car. What seems to be the problem?
I don't know. This stupid old car started spewing white smoke and it just died on me. Luckily, I managed to start it up and drive it here. What do you think it is?
Not sure yet. How about you pop the hood and we can take a look? Doesn't look good.
What do you mean? My daddy gave me this car for my birthday last month. It's brand new.
Well, Missy, the white smoke that you saw is steam from the radiator. You overheated your engine, so now the pistons are busted, and so is your transmission. You should have called us and we could have towed you over here when your car died.
So, how long is this gonna take? An hour?
I'm afraid a bit more than that. We need to order the spare parts, take apart your electrical system, fuel pump, and engine, and then put it back together again. You were gonna have to leave it here for at least 2 weeks.
What? How am I supposed to go to school or go shopping? This is not happening.
All right, so car trouble. Have you ever had like any very serious car trouble or like something weird happen to your car?
Actually, the week before I decided to leave Chicago, I had this 1991 Honda Civic hatchback, so only 2 doors.
Nice.
And I was driving home from work. I was on the highway, had the radio on, the windows open, and then doo 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 doo, boom.
It died.
It died in the middle of the highway during rush hour, right? So that's when there's
Wow.
tons of cars. And I didn't know what to do. So I'm calling people, and then all of a sudden I see someone tapping on my window, and there's cars everywhere. And it's this guy. And he's like, listen, do you need a hand? I said, yes. So I put the car in neutral so that there's no brake. And he pushed it to
Wow.
a side road and gave me a ride home.
No way.
He was the coolest guy. He was so nice. And he was just there with his truck. He's a gardener and just gave me a ride home. It was super, super cool.
Wow.
And so it turns out my engine died. No, the engine was new. It was the transmission. It was shot. It was totally broken.
Wow.
But I was very lucky to have such a kind person.
Yeah, that's a good story because usually people are too afraid or maybe a little bit reluctant to stop and see if you're okay or if you need a ride or something because, you can't really trust people these days. So, but it's good. Once I saw somebody on the side of the road. It had a flat tire. It was 2 girls and they didn't know what to do. So I was like passing by. It was actually raining. And I was like, hey, do you guys need a hand? And they're like, yeah, please, man. We can't locate my dad or whatever. So I was like, changing the tire. It's not a big deal, right? And then they're like, oh, I think. And they wanted to tip me. They wanted to give me some money. And they're like, oh, please take this. You're so kind. Your time and you're all wet. And I'm like, no, don't worry about it.
No, it's just a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
If you know anything about cars, I mean,
Yeah.
or if you can offer someone a lift. I know it's not terribly safe to ride with strangers, but this guy totally helped me out. So
Nice. All right. Well, maybe you guys have some cool or maybe some interesting stories of what's happened with your cars, or maybe you've helped somebody out. So come to our website at englishpod.com and let us know.
And of course, if you have any questions about the vocabulary or phrases that you heard today, please ask away. Don't hesitate. And well, again, we hope to see you on the website.
All right. We'll see you guys there.
Bye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. To flow out of something in a fast and forceful way.
Spew.
The metal casing enclosing a set of gears in a motor vehicle.
Gearbox.
To stop working or running while in use by someone.
Die on.
A tubular acoustic device inserted in the exhaust system that is designed to reduce noise.
Muffler.
Broken.
Busted.
Control mechanism for keeping an automobile at a set speed.
Cruise control.
To remove all the pieces.
Take apart.
To pass after catching up with another vehicle on the road.
Overtake.
Introduces request or suggestion.
How about?
A device that is locked on the wheel of a car by the police to prevent it from moving.
Boot.
Let's try that faster. Broken.
Busted.
To flow out of something in a fast and forceful way.
Spew.
To remove all the pieces.
Take apart.
Introduces request or suggestion.
How about?
To pass after catching up with another vehicle on the road.
Overtake.
To stop working or running while in use by someone.
Die on.
Control mechanism for keeping an automobile at a set speed.
Cruise control.
A tubular acoustic device inserted in the exhaust system that is designed to reduce noise.
Muffler.
The metal casing enclosing a set of gears in a motor vehicle.
Gearbox.
A device that is locked on the wheel of a car by the police to prevent it from moving.
Boot.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Spew. Everyone in the village was evacuated when the volcano started spewing lava. Spew. After 10 hours of constant interrogation, the suspect finally spewed the truth. Spew. Frank had too much to drink and spewed all over the car. Die on. My CD player died on me, and I had to listen to the radio. Die on. Get that medicine over here fast, or this guy's gonna die on me. Die on. I forgot to charge my mobile phone. It's gonna die on me soon. How about? How about we go see a movie tonight? How about? How about you be quiet and let me do my job? How about? How about we get married in Cancun instead of Greece? Busted. We were playing baseball in the backyard, and I accidentally busted a window. Busted. Mike was in a car accident and busted his rib and arm. Busted. The cat knocked over my mom's favorite vase, and it busted into 1,000,000 pieces. Take apart. Once I'd taken the clock apart, I couldn't fit the bits together again. Take apart. When I was a kid, I loved taking apart my toys to see how they work. Take apart. This book shows you how to take apart electronic devices and gadgets.
Hello, English learners. Welcome back to another great lesson at English Pod. My name is Marco.
And my name's Erica.
And today we're going to be building something.
That's right. We've got a lesson about construction.
Cool. So we're going to be working at a construction site today, and we're going to learn a lot of cool vocabulary with different types of tools.
And we'll also learn some phrases that you can use to talk about work. So even if you're not really interested in building and making stuff out with your hands, you will learn some language to talk about work in general.
All right, so before we get started with this construction dialogue, let's take a look at vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
Well, Marco, we're going to look at 2 words now. And like you said, we're building something in this lesson, right?
Right, we're going to be building a deck.
A deck.
A deck.
All right, so a deck, what is that?
Basically, it's an elevated wooden platform that houses will have like in their backyards maybe.
So it's a platform that's a little bit higher off the ground behind your house.
So it's very popular for houses to have decks, and people will put out a table and chairs and maybe have lunch out there.
Or a barbecue or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so a deck. Now, they're building this deck, and they need to follow some plans.
Plans.
The
plans that we're talking about are construction plans.
Yeah, it's kind of like the map for the deck, how you're going to build it.
Exactly. So we can have floor plans, for example.
So that shows you how the building looks, like where the different rooms are.
And like a house, right?
Yeah.
So it's basically the map for a construction.
Okay, great. So 2 interesting words. We're going to hear both of these in the dialogue. Now, why don't we get started and find out what's going to happen as they're building this deck?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've been hired to build a deck on this here house and turn this boring and drab lawn into a backyard oasis. There is one catch, though. We've only got 1 day to finish this, so I'm going to need everyone to give 110% today. It's going to be tough, but we've got a great team here, and I know that together we can tackle this project. That being said, let's get to work.
That's right. Now, remember, we've been over the plans, but we really need to make sure that everything is up to code. The home inspectors here are pretty thorough, so please make sure you follow the plans exactly. And remember the carpenter's rule of thumb: measure twice, cut once.
Okay, guys, let's get at it. Bob, pass me that hammer. The nails won't go in. The wood is too hard. I think I'm gonna need the nail gun. That did it.
Hey, do me a favor and help me cut this 2x4, will ya? Pass me that circle saw and grab hold of the end of the board. Now help me drill some holes in it so we can place the bolts.
I think you should sand the edges. Look at all these splinters. Someone could get hurt. Jeez, you gotta take pride in your work.
Yeah, you're right. Pass me the sander and I'll take care of it.
Julia, get over here with that level, measuring tape, and that box of screws.
Oh no! Look out below!
All right, so there are a lot of people building the deck. They have to build it fast. They've only got 1 day, so it's a really big challenge, huh?
Yeah, and I think this is a good lesson in maybe not rushing through important projects, right?
Exactly. So we saw some really interesting tools that they were using. So why don't we look at that first in language takeaway?
Language takeaway.
All right, so we've got some language all about tools. So why don't we just get started? So they mentioned a nail gun.
Nail gun.
A nail gun.
So we all know about hammers and nails, right?
Right, so the nails are what you put in the wood.
Exactly. Now this is an advanced tool, so you don't have to use a hammer. It's kind of hard to explain, so why don't we listen to the sound this tool makes?
Well, I guess like its name suggests, it's a gun for putting nails in wood.
Yeah, it actually uses compressed air to push nails really fast into the wood.
All right. So they're nailing some pieces of wood together, but they also needed to cut the wood, and they said, help me cut the 2x4.
Yeah, she said, help me cut this 2x4.
So a 2x4.
This is a very popular type of wood that you use in construction. A 2x4 is basically 2 inches by 4 inches.
So 2 inches high and 4 inches wide.
So it's the most popular and common type of wood that you would use for construction, a 2x4. You'll hear it all the time.
So they're going to cut the 2x4, and C said, pass me the circular saw.
A circular saw.
A circular saw.
So a saw, we understand, is something you use to cut wood. But you have many types of saws. You have a band saw, you have a circular saw, and this one makes this sound.
So I guess it's called a circular saw because the blade or the cutting part is shaped in a circle.
Yeah, a circular saw.
So after they cut the piece of wood, one of the guys said, I think you should sand the edges.
to sand
To
something.
sand something.
All right. So if you want to sand usually a piece of wood, you want to use paper covered in sand to make it very smooth.
Yeah, exactly. And so they also mentioned a sander, right?
A sander is basically a machine that has this sandpaper on it and will do the hard work for you.
All right, so to sand something and a sander.
Now, our next word is very related to sanding something, because if you don't sand a piece of wood, it might have splinters.
Splinters.
Splinter.
Splinters.
So like I said, if you cut a piece of wood, there are little pieces of wood that stick out and you can get hurt. They can get under your skin.
Yeah, so tiny, tiny parts of wood.
That's called a splinter.
A splinter. Okay, so why don't we go on to our next tool? They were talking about a level.
A level.
The level.
All right, so this is a tool that all carpenters have. And it's basically a tool that has a little bit of water in it, right?
Yeah, and it helps you make sure that everything is straight and flat.
Exactly. So that's a level. Every carpenter has it. And also a measuring tape.
A measuring tape.
Measuring tape.
Now, I'm sure if this was a video podcast, we could show you what a measuring tape was and you'd really understand it. But we'll do our best to describe it for you. So a measuring tape is like a ruler that rolls up.
Yeah, it's a very convenient ruler because it can roll up and you can measure something that is maybe 6 feet or 3 meters long, and you can extend it. And when you're done measuring, you can put it back and just put it in your pocket.
Yeah, every carpenter has one.
A measuring tape.
All right, so that's our last tool that we're going to talk about. So why don't we move on now to Fluency Builder, where we've got some phrases that you can use to talk about work.
Fluency Builder.
So when the contractor started giving them instructions, he said, I need everyone to give 110% today.
To give 110%.
So when you give 110%, you are basically trying very hard.
Yeah, you give everything you have to your job.
Right. So it's not only 100%, it's 110, more than what's needed.
So no lunch break.
Exactly. So as they were talking about the instructions, one of the guys said, the carpenter's rule of thumb.
A rule of thumb.
So this is an interesting phrase, rule of thumb. What does that mean exactly?
Okay, well, you know what? I think we can understand the meaning pretty clearly if we listen to some examples.
Example 1.
The rule of thumb in making a sale is confidence. Without confidence, you don't make a sale.
Example 2.
The tailor's rule of thumb is twice the circumference of the wrist is the circumference of the neck.
Example 3.
You don't have to take everything I say about marketing as a rule of thumb.
One of the guys noticed a few problems, the splinters, and he said, you've got to take pride in your work.
Okay, so to take pride in your work.
To take pride in your work.
So why did he say that to her? What is he trying to tell her?
Well, because she made some mistakes, she didn't do such a good job, he's wanting her to work harder, work better. Work more carefully.
Okay, and so she can be proud of her work and say, this is a job well done.
So when you take pride in your work, you work so well and do such a good job that you feel really happy about it.
All right, good. So why don't we listen to this dialogue again for the last time, and then we'll come back and talk about construction.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've been hired to build a deck on this here house and turn this boring and drab lawn into a backyard oasis. There is one catch, though. We've only got 1 day to finish this, so I'm going to need everyone to give 110% today. It's going to be tough, but we've got a great team here, and I know that together we can tackle this project. That being said, let's get to work.
That's right. Now, remember, we've been over the plans, but we really need to make sure that everything is up to code. The home inspectors here are pretty thorough, so please make sure you follow the plans exactly. And remember the carpenter's rule of thumb, measure twice, cut once.
Okay, guys, let's get at it. Bob, pass me that hammer. The nails won't go in. The wood is too hard. I think I'm gonna need the nail gun. That did it.
Hey, do me a favor and help me cut this 2x4, will ya?
pass me that circle saw and grab hold of the end of the board. Now help me drill some holes in it so we can place the bolts.
I think you should sand the edges. Look at all these splinters. Someone could get hurt. Jeez, you gotta take pride in your work.
Yeah, you're right. Pass me the sander and I'll take care of it.
Julia, get over here with that level, measuring tape, and that box of screws.
Oh no! Look out below!
So an interesting aspect of North American culture is projects like this, right? Building a deck or maybe adding a room to your house.
Yeah, that's right. And we call this DIY.
Right, DIY, do it yourself. Mm-hmm. So it's a very popular summer project, right?
Right. So if you live in a neighborhood in North America, you might see the dad of a family outside building something, and all his friends come over and they drink beer and build this big thing together.
Right. So it could be a tree house, it could be a deck. It could even maybe be adding another room to the house.
Yeah, and it's so popular that there are tons of TV shows about how to build stuff for your house, and there are a lot of really big stores where you can go and find all of this equipment for building stuff for your house.
Right, so basically there are these big stores where you can get anything from paint to wood to tools, huge amount of material so you can do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. You can DIY.
All right, so that's all the time we have for today, but let us know what you think and tell us if you are into doing handiwork like this, like maybe building a tree house or building a deck.
That's right. You can come to our website at englishpod.com and tell us about it. As well, you can also leave your questions there.
All right, so we'll see you guys there, and until next time. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. A circular saw mounted under a table or bench so that large pieces of wood could be cut.
Table saw.
To try your best.
To give 110%.
A decorative strip used for ornamentation or finishing on the edges of a wall.
Molding.
A piece of wood that is 2 inches thick and 4 inches wide.
2x4.
A wall or ceiling constructed of a prefabricated material, such as plasterboard or paneling.
Drywall.
Let your effort be a reflection of your skill.
Take pride in your work.
A person or firm that supplies materials or labor for other companies.
Contractor.
Set of actions to complete a task.
Plans.
A person who makes or repairs wooden structures.
Carpenter.
A tool used to measure how long something is.
Measuring tape.
Let's try that faster. Let your effort be a reflection of your skill.
Take pride in your work.
A circular saw mounted under a table or bench so that large pieces of wood could be cut.
Table saw.
A piece of wood that is 2 inches thick and 4 inches wide.
2x4.
To try your best.
To give 110%.
A decorative strip used for ornamentation or finishing on the edges of a wall.
Molding.
A tool used to measure how long something is.
Measuring tape.
Set of actions to complete a task.
Plans.
A person or firm that supplies materials or labor for other companies.
Contractor.
A wall or ceiling constructed of a prefabricated material, such as plasterboard or paneling.
Drywall.
A person who makes or repairs wooden structures.
Carpenter.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
To give 110%. It's not enough to try your best. You have to give 110% if you want to be successful. To give 110%. We really have to give 110% today if we want to finish this project on time. To give 110%. Good job, team. You really gave 110% out there today. 2x4. We need another 2x4 to finish this deck. 2x4. I can't come to work today because a 2x4 fell from my roof and hit me on the head. 2x4. Did you see that? That wrestler pulled out a 2x4 and broke it on the other guy's back. Take pride in your work. When you take pride in your work, you will start to enjoy it more and may even want to learn more to improve yourself. Take pride in your work. I respect Jim a lot because he really takes pride in his work and is very dedicated. Take pride in your work. How can I take pride in my work if I don't enjoy what I'm doing? Plans. Carl, I need the kitchen plans today so I can start putting up the kitchen cabinets. Plans. These floor plans are in Chinese. We need to get them translated before we start construction. Plans. Our architect isn't done drawing our floor plans, but I'm sure the house is going to look great. Measuring tape. This measuring tape is in inches. I need one that has centimeters on it. Measuring tape. Measuring tapes were originally used by tailors and dressmakers. Measuring tape. Check out my new digital measuring tape. All I have to do is point at an object, and it will tell me how far away it is.
Hello, English learners. Welcome back to another great lesson here with English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're bringing you an upper intermediate lesson.
A special lesson about the new president.
Right. It's been a hot topic in the U.S. The new president-elect, President Obama.
Yes.
So today we're bringing you something that you might see at his inaugural address.
That's true. So, Marco, can you explain this word, inaugural address?
The inaugural address is the first speech the president gives at the ceremony when he is officially president.
Okay. All right. So
Right.
It's his first presidential speech.
Exactly. Great. So let's take a look at some other words that we're going to find in the dialogue today in Vocabulary Preview.
Vocabulary preview.
All right, on Vocabulary Preview today, we have two words. The first one is swear in.
Swear in.
Swear in.
Swear in. We'll see this word in its past tense in the dialogue, right? Sworn in.
Sworn in.
So it means...
So to swear someone in is to officially give that person a very important position,
Right.
usually in government.
Yeah.
And our second word is oath.
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 O-A-T-H. Oath.
An oath goes hand in hand with swear in, right?
That's right. When you swear someone in, they make an oath, a promise, right?
A promise.
An official promise to carry out the duties of that job.
Right, so they promise that they will do their job. Okay, great. So now let's listen to our dialogue for a first time. Where are we?
Well, we're actually watching a news reporter on TV. She's in Washington, and she's going to tell us all about what's happening.
Great, so let's listen.
This is Madeline Wright for BCC News, reporting live from Washington, D.C., where very shortly the new president will deliver his inaugural address. Just moments ago, the president was sworn into office. Following the United States Constitution, the president swore an oath to faithfully execute the office of the presidency.
And what exactly is going on now, Madeline?
Well, Tom, true to American tradition, the band has just played Hail to the Chief, and the president has been honored with a 21-gun salute. Now we're waiting for the president to take the stage and deliver his speech. Tom, it's like the who's who of the political world here on Capitol Hill, with dignitaries representing several different countries.
What's the mood on the ground like, Madeline?
In a word, the mood here is electric. The excitement in the air is palpable. I've never seen a larger crowd here on Capitol Hill. The audience is shouting, crying, and embracing each other. On this, a most historic day, you can feel the hope and the excitement in the air. The 20th of January will go down in history as the... Oh, Tom, it looks like the president is about to begin.
My fellow Americans, I stand before you today
Okay, some technical problems at the inaugural address.
Yeah, I certainly hope this doesn't happen.
Well, if it does, you heard it first at English Pod.
Predictors of the future here.
Okay, let's take a look at language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
On language takeaway today, we're bringing you 4 words.
The first word is deliver.
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 Like deliver a pizza.
No. Let's listen. We've got 3 examples that will show the meaning of this word.
Example 1.
Who's going to deliver the welcome speech?
Example 2. I've been asked to deliver a presentation on the findings of our research project. Example 3.
Dr. Rosen is delivering a lecture on macroeconomics.
Okay, so deliver a speech.
Say a speech.
To say a speech.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't say a speech, you would say deliver a speech.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, our second word for language takeaway, the who's who.
The who's who.
The who's who.
So this is a funny expression, hey?
It's kind of weird.
The who's who is the important people in a particular field, right?
Right. So, for example, there was a party last night and the who's who of the film industry was there.
Whoa, so all the important stars
and directors
yeah.
and all that stuff.
Okay. You could also say the funeral was like a who's who of the political world.
Okay, so all the important political figures were at this funeral.
Exactly. Let's move to our third word.
Dignitaries.
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 Okay, we have some great examples so you can understand what this word means, so let's listen.
Example 1. Several important dignitaries were present at the opening ceremony, including the President of Brazil, the King of Spain, and the Pope. Example 2.
There are going to be a lot of foreign dignitaries at the dinner.
So basically we can understand that dignitaries are really important people, right?
Right. Important political or religious figures.
I see.
All right. Now our last word for language takeaway, palpable.
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 Palpable. When something is palpable, it's so strong you can feel it.
Okay, so it's a very strong feeling. You can almost touch it.
Yeah, like the excitement was palpable or the fear was palpable.
Okay, interesting word, palpable. Let's listen to our dialogue again, and now let's try and listen to all these words we just talked about.
Madeline Wright for BCC News, reporting live from Washington, D.C., where very shortly the new president will deliver his inaugural address. Just moments ago, the president was sworn into office. Following the United States Constitution, the president swore an oath to faithfully execute the office of the presidency.
And what exactly is going on now, Madeline?
Well, Tom, true to American tradition, the band has just played Hail to the Chief, and the president has been honored with a 21-gun salute. Now we're waiting for the president to take the stage and deliver his speech. Tom, it's like the who's who of the political world here on Capitol Hill, with dignitaries representing several different countries.
What's the mood on the ground like, Madeline?
In a word, the mood here is electric. The excitement in the air is palpable. I've never seen a larger crowd here on Capitol Hill. The audience is shouting, crying, and embracing each other. On this, a most historic day, you can feel the hope and the excitement in the air. The 20th of January will go down in history as the... Oh, Tom, it looks like the president is about to begin.
My fellow Americans, I stand before you today.
Okay, so if you noticed in our dialogue, we have some really interesting phrases there.
Yes.
So I think it's time for us to take a look at Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
On Fluency Builder today, we're going to be looking at 3 phrases that are very interesting because we can change them a little bit and form different patterns.
Yeah, so the first phrase we have is in a word.
In a word.
In a word.
In a word.
We use this expression when we want to describe something in one word.
Right.
Pretty simple, hey?
It's really simple.
Let's look at the pattern. We've got examples of how you could use this phrase.
Example 1. In a word, the situation is serious. Example 2.
What's it like there?
In a word, it's amazing.
Okay, so in a word, this podcast is
awesome.
Amazing.
Uh-huh.
Okay, let's look at our second phrase today. Go down in history.
Go down in history.
Go down in history.
So this is a really common phrase. I'm sure you guys have heard it.
Yeah, basically something that is really important that everyone will remember for a very long time.
Let's look at this pattern with a few examples.
Example 1.
This is going to go down in history as the worst disaster the world has ever seen.
Example 2. He'll go down in history as the best president we've ever had. Example 3.
This day will go down in history. Okay, so as you can see, the pattern is we're using a superlative.
That's right. The most, the best,
The biggest,
the worst.
the worst, right?
Uh-huh. And our final phrase in putting it together is
My fellow Americans.
my fellow Americans.
My fellow Americans.
So obviously you can change this one up a little bit, hey?
Right, you can say my fellow co-workers,
Uh-huh. My fellow citizens.
my fellow family members.
Yes.
So basically fellow just means like dear
Yeah.
in some way.
So, similar.
Similar.
Yeah.
So we looked at some great vocabulary and phrases, and now let's talk a little bit about these American traditions when electing a new president.
Yes.
Today in the studio we have JP who's joining us.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, JP.
And he's going to be talking to us about these traditions.
Oh, I am. Okay.
Yeah.
What are we going to talk about?
21 gun salute. What's that all about?
The 21 gun salute is the military salute where they say, and now we will have the 21 gun salute. So 21 soldiers with their rifles, they go, hur, 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 and they all shoot them off at the same time. And I don't know why.
Oh, I think it's a sign of respect, hey?
Yeah.
Weird respect, though.
Well, I think in Europe they would do a cannon or something.
Oh.
Right.
One cannon salute?
No, well, just cannons. Maybe just one cannon.
Maybe our European listeners know the answer to this.
Maybe.
Okay, and what about this song, Hail to the Chief? Do you know anything about that?
I do not know anything about it, except that it's a march, and I think it's Sousa. I think John Philip Sousa wrote it. And whenever the president walks into a room, they play that song.
Really?
Yes, and I played it once for President Bush, the first one. I was a drummer.
You did?
And my marching band had to play that song for him.
Oh my God, JP, you're like famous.
Yeah, this was back in like 1986 or something. Was that even an election year? 88? I don't know.
Well, you did play for the president, so
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, JP, do you have any other sort of traditional things that happen when the president becomes the president?
Well, I can tell you that Jimmy Carter, when he was elected president, this motorcade was going down Pennsylvania Avenue, and he stopped the car and got out.
Really?
To do what?
Yeah, to walk. He wanted to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. He wanted to walk down the, down the street.
To be with the people.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it made the Secret Service insane.
Maybe the car smelled bad or something.
Maybe so. I think that is my memory of it. I might be confusing with The West Wing, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, too much TV.
Yeah, maybe. But when the president walks, it's a big deal.
So, JP, do you do anything special for the inauguration ceremony?
I always take the day off to watch.
You do?
I love watching it. I love, I love the swearing in ceremony, the ritual of it, the speech.
All right, everyone, we're out of time. I hope you enjoyed this political lesson.
And I hope you have a happy inauguration day.
Happy inauguration day, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, great. We're definitely going to take the day off to watch it with JP, and hopefully you guys can too.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone, and until next time, goodbye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. Give information by speaking. Say something officially.
Deliver.
Place someone in a new position by holding an official ceremony where he promises to do the job well.
Swear in.
Official. Serious promise.
Oath.
Important and famous people in a particular industry.
Who's who?
Person with a high rank or position, especially in government or religion.
Dignitary.
So strong you can feel it. Obvious.
Palpable.
To describe it in one word.
In a word.
Used to describe people of the same group.
Fellow.
Be remembered.
Go down in history.
Let's try that faster. Be remembered.
Go down in history.
Person with a high rank or position, especially in government or religion.
Dignitary.
Be remembered.
Go down in history.
Person with a high rank or position, especially in government or religion.
Dignitary.
Official. Serious promise.
Oath.
To describe it in one word.
In a word.
Important and famous people in a particular industry.
Who's who?
Used to describe people of the same group.
Fellow.
Person with a high rank or position, especially in government or religion.
Dignitary.
Place someone in a new position by holding an official ceremony where he promises to do the job well.
Swear in.
Give information by speaking. Say something officially.
Deliver.
To describe it in one word.
In a word.
Place someone in a new position by holding an official ceremony where he promises to do the job well.
Swear in.
Important and famous people in a particular industry.
Who's who?
To describe it in one word.
In a word.
Be remembered.
Go down in history.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Deliver. Who is going to deliver the welcome speech? Swear in. The president-elect will be sworn in on the 20th of January. Oath. The president swore an oath to lead the country fairly and justly. Who's who? The convention was like a who's who of the auto industry. Palpable. I had a palpable sense of relief when I heard your plane landed safely. Dignitary. Several important dignitaries were present at the opening ceremony, including the President of Brazil, the King of Spain, and the Pope. Go down in history. This is going to go down in history as the worst disaster the world has ever seen. Deliver. Who is going to deliver the welcome speech? Who's who? The convention was like a who's who of the auto industry. Dignitary. Several important dignitaries were present at the opening ceremony, including the President of Brazil, the King of Spain, and the Pope. Go down in history. This is going to go down in history as the worst disaster the world has ever seen.
Hello, English learners, and welcome to another great lesson with us here at English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're bringing you a great upper intermediate lesson.
That's right. We're going to talk about a topic that's been in the news recently. And this topic is...
the bird flu.
That's right.
So can you tell us what the bird flu really is?
Basically, the story is a lot of chickens and birds keep getting this disease. And they've managed to pass this disease to humans. And the fear is that humans will start to pass this disease to each other. And a huge number of people in the world could get really sick.
Okay.
Yes.
So it sounds scary.
Well, it may be a little bit scary, but we do have some interesting language. We've got language to talk about a disease and language that you might use in a planning meeting at work.
All right. So let's start by looking at our vocabulary preview for this dialogue.
Vocabulary preview.
Okay, the first word on our vocabulary preview today is contingency plan.
Contingency plan.
Contingency plan.
Contingency plan.
So a contingency plan is a
plan that you make to prepare for an emergency.
So like a backup plan.
Exactly.
Okay,
yep.
Contingency plan. And our last word for the vocabulary preview today is pandemic.
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 So a pandemic is something scary.
Well, yes. It's an event where a disease affects a lot of people. Like we're talking millions of people.
Okay.
And it spreads very quickly.
Uh-huh.
And it goes international.
Okay. So a disease that spreads very fast and goes everywhere.
Exactly.
Okay.
Pandemic.
Okay, so we're ready to listen to our dialogue. We are going to be at a business meeting where people are talking about a contingency plan.
Well, right. Let's move to our next order of business. As many of you are aware, in recent weeks there has been a lot of media coverage surrounding this bird flu issue. And it's come to my attention that our company lacks any sort of bird flu contingency plan.
Basically, we need to come up with a clear plan. We need to outline specific actions that our company can take to maintain critical business functions in case a pandemic strikes.
So what I'd like to do is first appoint someone to look after drafting our plan. Ralph, I'd like you to head up this project.
Sure, no problem. What issues do you want me to consider?
Well, let's see. There are a few points we need to be thinking about. First, I'll need you to analyze our numbers and figure out what kind of financial impact an outbreak might have.
You'll also need to think about how we can avoid any of our employees getting infected. Think of ways to reduce employee-customer contact, perhaps some IT solutions that will allow our people to work from home.
I guess you'll need me to forecast employee absences as well, right? And I'll think about the impact this will have on our clients. Hey, what about vaccines? Should we be thinking about getting vaccines for our employees?
Exactly right. So I'll leave this to you, and well, we'll review the draft plan in 2 weeks. Okay, so anyone want to order some KFC for lunch?
All right, what an ironic meeting. They are talking about the bird flu, and they are going to have chicken.
Yes, after sneezing all over.
Yeah, I guess now we could take a look at our language takeaway for this dialogue.
Language takeaway.
We heard a lot of really useful language in this dialogue, and right now we're going to look at 4 different words from the dialogue. The first one is critical.
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 We've got some examples of this word that'll help us to understand the meaning, so let's listen.
Example 1.
It's absolutely critical that we increase our sales. If not, the company will go bankrupt.
Example 2. We have a critical shortage of food. If we don't get help, people will die. Example 3.
This is a critical step in the process. You can't make a mistake here.
So when something's critical, it's basically...
really important, really urgent.
Right. Okay, great word. Critical. The next word we have is outbreak.
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 An outbreak.
So an outbreak is a sudden start of a disease, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I say, oh, I got an outbreak of flu? Can outbreak describe one person?
No, an outbreak means that it's infecting a lot of people.
Okay.
Not only one person.
So that we could say there was an outbreak of the flu at the office.
Right.
Which there was.
Yeah, a lot of people got sick here with the flu.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you tell us about our third word?
Our third word is forecast.
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 Forecast. So to forecast basically means to predict.
Exactly.
For example, you talk about the weather forecast.
Yep.
Okay, great. And the last word for our language takeaway is vaccines.
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 So vaccines are something we all had when we were children.
That's true.
They are injections that you get to prevent you from getting sick later.
Right. So an injection of medicine from your doctor so that you don't get a disease in the future.
Right, when we are small, we get polio vaccines.
Yeah, or measles vaccines.
Measles, right.
Yeah.
A lot of common diseases.
Yes.
Okay, so that's all for language takeaway. Some great language related to health and disease. But we also heard some great business-related words in this dialogue.
That's true. There's a lot of words that you can use in a planning meeting. So let's look at those now in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
In today's Fluency Builder, we're going to look at 4 useful phrases. Now, this first phrase you can use when you want to change the subject at a meeting. Let's listen to what they said in the dialogue.
Let's move to our next order of business. Let's move to our next order of business.
Okay, so let's move to our next order of business. It's a great way of saying, let's move on.
Exactly.
Let's pass to the next topic.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Speaking of passing to the next topic, we heard another really interesting phrase in the dialogue. Let's listen.
We need to come up with a clear plan. We need to come up with a clear plan.
So we need to come up with a clear plan. We need to...
Think of
a clear plan.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
We need to come up with.
Yeah. Okay, our third phrase we heard in the dialogue is this.
Okay, I'd like you to head up this project.
So this phrase, head up, this is a great phrase.
It means I'd like you to lead or take care of this project.
Okay. And the last phrase for Fluency Builder, you can use when you want to give someone the responsibility of a job. We heard this.
So I'll leave this to you.
So I'll leave this to you. You take charge.
Exactly. I'll leave this to you.
That's a great way of delegating a responsibility. And so we're going to leave you to listen to our dialogue a last time. And be sure to pick up all the great vocabulary that we just talked about.
Well, right. Let's move to our next order of business. As many of you are aware, in recent weeks there has been a lot of media coverage surrounding this bird flu issue. And it's come to my attention that our company lacks any sort of bird flu contingency plan.
Basically, we need to come up with a clear plan. We need to outline specific actions that our company can take to maintain critical business functions in case a pandemic strikes.
So what I'd like to do is first appoint someone to look after drafting our plan. Ralph, I'd like you to head up this project.
Sure, no problem. What issues do you want me to consider?
Well, let's see. There are a few points we need to be thinking about. First, I'll need you to analyze our numbers and figure out what kind of financial impact an outbreak might have.
You'll also need to think about how we can avoid any of our employees getting infected. Think of ways to reduce employee-customer contact, perhaps some IT solutions that will allow our people to work from home.
I guess you'll need me to forecast employee absences as well, right? And I'll think about the impact this will have on our clients. Hey, what about vaccines? Should we be thinking about getting vaccines for our employees?
Exactly right. So I'll leave this to you, and well, we'll review the draft plan in 2 weeks. Okay, so anyone want to order some KFC for lunch?
Okay, great. So this contingency plan idea is really interesting, right?
Yeah, it makes sense for a company to prepare in case there is an outbreak of bird flu. I mean, they need to maintain their critical business functions, even if all of the employees are sick, hey?
Right, I guess that's really important, and you have to forecast all these possibilities, like people are going to be away from the office, or even forecast less sales, etc.
That's right. The interesting thing is that businesses that may not actually be involved in food production or raising chickens or something like that are making these contingency plans. I find that really fascinating. So it seems there is a lot of fear out there about the possibility of a pandemic.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they'll come out with a vaccine so we don't have to worry about these things.
That's true. But until then,
we'll have to create contingency plans.
That's right.
Okay, guys, we're out of time today, and I hope you enjoyed our lesson and found all these words and phrases really useful, and you can apply them in real life.
All right, guys, thanks for listening. And be sure to check out our website, englishpod.com, where you can leave all your questions and comments. Marco and I are always around to answer your questions. So
until then, it's bye.
Goodbye.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. An issue that must be discussed. Order of business. Flu originated from birds that carry virus. Bird flu. A plan that prepares for a situation where things can go wrong. Contingency plan. Extremely important. Critical. A situation where a disease is spread out very quickly and affects many people in many countries. Pandemic. Make a first version of something. Draft. Major influence or effect on something. Impact. A sudden start of disease affecting many people. Outbreak. Lead and be responsible for. Head up. Predict what is going to happen based on available information. Forecast. Medical substance that protect people or animal against diseases. Vaccine. Let's try that faster. A situation where a disease is spread out very quickly and affects many people in many countries. Pandemic. Predict what is going to happen based on available information. Forecast. Flu originated from birds that carry virus. Bird flu. A situation where a disease is spread out very quickly and affects many people in many countries. Pandemic. A sudden start of disease affecting many people. Outbreak. An issue that must be discussed. Order of business. Medical substance that protect people or animal against diseases. Vaccine. A sudden start of disease affecting many people. Outbreak. Flu originated from birds that carry virus. Bird flu. A sudden start of disease affecting many people. Outbreak. Lead and be responsible for. Head up. Predict what is going to happen based on available information. Forecast. Lead and be responsible for. Head up. A situation where a disease is spread out very quickly and affects many people in many countries. Pandemic. A plan that prepares for a situation where things can go wrong. Contingency plan. Make a first version of something. Draft. Flu originated from birds that carry virus. Bird flu. An issue that must be discussed. Order of business. Make a first version of something. Draft. An issue that must be discussed. Order of business. Now say the word and hear it in a sentence. Critical.
It's absolutely critical that we increase our sales. If not, the company will go bankrupt.
Impact.
The cost savings plans have a positive impact on our profits.
Draft.
I'm going to draft an email. Can you read it when I'm done?
Contingency plan.
The purpose of this meeting is to develop a contingency plan in case the workers decide to strike.
Forecast.
John, please tell us about the forecast revenues and expenses for the upcoming month.
Outbreak.
This outbreak has already caused more than 1,000 deaths.
Head up.
If I receive the promotion, I will be heading up the implementation of new policies.
Critical.
It's absolutely critical that we increase our sales. If not, the company will go bankrupt.
Impact.
The cost savings plans have a positive impact on our profits.
Draft.
I'm going to draft an email. Can you read it when I'm done?
Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we're bringing you another part of our sports series. And today we're going to be talking about volleyball.
That's right. And we're going all the way to New Zealand to visit the men's volleyball championships.
So we're going to be looking at some great words and phrases related to volleyball and also how to describe a sporting event. So before we start on the dialogue, let's take a look at 2 words on vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
All right, we're going to hear both of these words in the dialogue. Now, the first one, encounter.
Encounter.
An exciting encounter.
All right, so if we have an exciting encounter, it means we have an exciting
meeting of 2 people or 2 teams or 2 groups.
if I say I had an incredible encounter last night with my best friend.
You met up with your best friend and something happened.
Okay, so that's what an encounter would mean.
Yes.
Looking at our second word now, powerhouse.
2 powerhouse teams.
All right, so we have 2 powerhouse teams, China and Brazil.
That's right. So a powerhouse team is basically a strong, powerful, really energetic, great team, right?
Okay, so we can use it for teams, such as in this case, but we can also describe maybe a company or a person as a powerhouse.
That guy is a powerhouse. He can lift 500 pounds.
Now, I think it's time for us to listen to our dialogue for the first time. We're going to be listening to this great sporting event as we are taken to New Zealand to see China and Brazil play.
It's a beautiful day here in New Zealand at the Men's Volleyball World Championship. My name is Rick Fields, and I'm joined by the man with the plan, Bob Copeland.
Thank you, Rick. We've got a very exciting encounter ahead of us today as 2 powerhouse teams, Brazil and China, face off against each other and try to qualify for the next round. Without a doubt, both teams are in top shape, and this will prove to be a competitive match.
The ref signals the start of the game, and here we go! Ribeiro serves, and China quickly receives the ball. Chun bumps it to the setter, and a very nice set by Chun.
Shu spikes it. Wow, what a great hit. The Brazilian blockers anticipated the play and tried to block him, but he managed to get the ball in. Great play.
It's China's service now. What a superb jump serve by Lee. Oh, and we have a let serve. The ball was coming in fast and almost made it over the net.
Brazil calls for a timeout, and we'll be right back after a short commercial break.
Well, sounds like a pretty exciting encounter between these 2 countries.
Very good teams, and both of them, as they mentioned, are powerhouse teams.
Well, why don't we take a look at some of the vocabulary that we came across in this dialogue? We're going to be focusing on volleyball words here in Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Okay, so in Language Takeaway today, we're going to have 6 words. And let's start with the first one. Chen bumps it to the setter.
All right, to bump.
All right, so in volleyball, when you are going to receive the ball, you put your arms together and you hit it with your forearms.
That's right, so at the top of your arm.
Right, and that's how you pass it to another player. That's called a bump.
So it is a noun and a verb, a bump to bump.
Exactly.
Now, another type of way to move the ball in volleyball we heard in the dialogue is a set.
A very nice set by Chen.
So a set or to set.
Right, the word can be used as a verb and a noun. And again, you take the ball and you move it with the tips of your fingers.
That is actually done by the setter.
Right. That is done by the setter, and he does this, he sets the ball, so then the attacker can spike the ball.
So that's our next word, to spike.
So to spike the ball,
or a spike,
is when you hit the ball very hard and very fast with the palm of your hand.
That's right. And that's how you score your points, right?
Exactly. So you'll see 3 basic moves, the bump, set, and spike.
But what about the serve?
All right, so our 4th word in volleyball is service.
So it's China's service now.
Right. So the service is the opportunity for the team to serve the ball.
Yep, pretty simple.
Right, and that means basically to start the game by hitting it to the other side.
Now, one type of serve is the jump serve.
Jump serve.
Jump serve.
Now, this is very popular, and you will see some players do this. They will throw the ball in the air and then jump in the air and hit it.
That's right.
All right, so that's a jump serve. And our last word for today is let serve.
A let serve.
Okay, we have a let serve today.
So a let serve is when you serve the ball and it sort of brushes over the net.
Right, it'll hit the net, but it will still pass to the other side.
That's right, and that's an illegal move in volleyball, isn't it?
When you are serving, yes.
So a let serve.
Right. So those are the 6 terms related to volleyball that we're going to be looking at today. And, well, with this in mind, let's move on to looking at some phrases now in, what is it? Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
All right, so our two announcers, Bob and Rick, said that we've got an exciting encounter ahead of us.
Right. So they use this phrase, ahead of us.
Ahead of us.
So basically, what does that mean?
Something will happen in the very near future.
So they are expecting it, or they will encounter it maybe.
Yes. So why don't we give a few examples of this phrase? Marco, we've got a long day ahead of us.
We have a very exciting trip ahead of us today.
Okay, so ahead of us. So we know it's an exciting game, and we heard the announcers say, without a doubt, both teams are in top shape.
Okay, so the phrase without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
So if I start a phrase using without a doubt,
you're basically saying there's no question. It's so obvious. This definitely is true.
It's very true. Okay.
Yep.
So without a doubt, English Pod is the best podcast out there.
Without a doubt, this is the strategy we should take.
Okay, very good. So without a doubt. Why don't we move on to our third phrase now? This will prove to be a competitive match.
So let's look at the phrase will prove to be. Something will prove to be.
Okay, so before we get into it, why don't we listen to some examples?
Example 1.
And I think you will prove to be the greatest president we've ever had.
Example 2.
The new HR policy is proving to be a waste of time.
Example 3.
We were worried that we were going to get laid off, but our fears proved to be untrue.
Okay, so when something will prove to be, it will show itself to be this thing, right?
It will demonstrate. We will see it. We will see for sure how it will be. And now for our fourth phrase, a very simple one, but very common in sports commentators or when you're watching a game. You'll say, great play.
Great play.
Great play.
A great play. Now we know play is usually a verb, right? But here it's acting as a noun. A play is basically a move in a sport or a game.
So when somebody says a great play, it means all the succession of moves and passes and hits to make the point.
Yep.
So it was a great play.
And that you can use that for any sport.
Right. So why don't we listen to our dialogue now for the second time, and then we'll come back and talk about this very popular sport, volleyball.
It's a beautiful day here in New Zealand at the Men's Volleyball World Championship. My name is Rick Fields, and I'm joined by the man of the plan, Bob Copeland.
Thank you, Rick. We've got a very exciting encounter ahead of us today as two powerhouse teams, Brazil and China, face off against each other and try to qualify for the next round. Without a doubt, both teams are in top shape, and this will prove to be a competitive match.
The ref signals the start of the game, and here we go! Ribeiro serves, and China quickly receives the ball. Chun bumps it to the setter, and a very nice set by Chun.
Shu spikes it. Wow, what a great hit. The Brazilian blockers anticipated the play and tried to block him, but he managed to get the ball in. Great play.
It's China's service now. What a superb jump serve by Lee. Oh, and we have a let serve. The ball was coming in fast and almost made it over the net.
Brazil calls for a timeout, and we'll be right back after a short commercial break.
So are you a volleyball fan, Marco?
It's a very nice sport. It's very fast and it's very hard.
Yep.
But it's very interesting to get together with friends, maybe at the beach, and play some beach volleyball or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's the best place to play volleyball. And, you know, we even have beach volleyball up in freezing cold Canada.
And do you have sand?
Occasionally.
All right, so volleyball is a great sport, but now we want to know what sport you want to learn about. We've covered soccer, we've covered basketball, we've covered volleyball. So tell us what other sports you would like to learn vocabulary and phrases on.
That's right. You can tell us this and many more things at englishpod.com, our website. So check it out.
Right. Leave your questions and comments, and we'll see you guys there.
Thanks for downloading.
The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Meet for a game or battle.
Encounter.
In the future.
Ahead of someone.
A highly energetic, strong team.
Powerhouse.
To reach the latter stages of a selection or process by competing successfully in earlier rounds.
Qualify.
In their best condition.
In top shape.
Hit the ball to start the game.
Serve.
To pass a volleyball by redirecting it with the forearms.
Bump.
The action of putting the ball in the air so it can be driven to the opponent's court.
Set.
Strongly hit the ball to the opponent's court using the palm of the hand.
Spike.
To foresee and act in advance of.
Anticipate.
A serve with the ball firstly thrown overhead and then the player jumping to hit it.
Jump serve.
The ball touches the net in a serve but still crosses into the opponent's court.
Let serve.
A pause during the game.
Time out.
When the team that served the ball loses the rally, causing the other team to serve the next point.
Side out.
A mishit, when a player attempts to hit or spike the ball with an open hand and nearly misses the ball.
Whiff.
The ability to prevent the ball from touching one's court after a spike or attack, particularly a ball that is nearly touching the ground.
Dig.
It is the practice of throwing a coin in the air to resolve a dispute between two parties.
Coin toss.
A contest or game ending in a tie.
Draw. Let's try that faster.
A highly energetic, strong team.
Powerhouse.
To foresee and act in advance of.
Anticipate.
To reach the latter stages of a selection or process by competing successfully in earlier rounds.
Qualify.
In their best condition.
In top shape.
The ability to prevent the ball from touching one's court after a spike or attack, particularly a ball that is nearly touching the ground.
Dig.
It is the practice of throwing a coin in the air to resolve a dispute between two parties.
Coin toss.
To pass a volleyball by redirecting it with the forearms.
Bump.
In the future.
Ahead of someone.
A pause during the game.
Time out.
A serve with the ball firstly thrown overhead and then the player jumping to hit it.
Jump serve.
Hit the ball to start the game.
Serve.
When the team that served the ball loses the rally, causing the other team to serve the next point.
Side out.
A contest or game ending in a tie.
Draw.
A mishit, when a player attempts to hit or spike the ball with an open hand and nearly misses the ball.
Whiff.
Meet for a game or battle.
Encounter.
Strongly hit the ball to the opponent's court using the palm of the hand.
Spike.
The ball touches the net in a serve but still crosses into the opponent's court.
Let serve.
The action of putting the ball in the air so it can be driven to the opponent's court.
Set. Now say the word and hear it in a sentence. Powerhouse. Our company is considered to be a powerhouse in the manufacturing industry. Powerhouse. How did Austria become a powerhouse of soccer in the 1920s? Powerhouse. China has grown into an economic powerhouse in the past decade. In top shape. Sarah ran a marathon this weekend and won. She is really in top shape. In top shape. You have to be in top shape to climb Mount Everest. In top shape. Our company had great sales this quarter, so we are in top shape. Anticipate. We thought we could see all the animals in the zoo, but we didn't anticipate there would be so many people. Anticipate. I anticipated it would rain today, so I brought my umbrella. Anticipate. A businessman must try to anticipate what his customers will want. Set. The setter must set the ball precisely so the other player can hit it. Set. You are setting the ball too low. I can't hit it. Set. That was a great set. The player jumped and hit the ball perfectly. I was almost late to the sales meeting, but managed to make it on time. Sarah was sick, but she managed to make it to work today. I am sorry, I can't make it to your party tonight. I already have plans. Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And today we are going to be talking about the weather.
That's right. And you know, Marco, this is a really, really useful and important topic in English, isn't it?
Exactly, because if you ever travel abroad, you always want to know about the weather, right?
That's right. And English people, all they ever do is talk about the weather.
Well, it's an important topic. You want to know what clothes to wear or if you should take an umbrella.
Or even when you're making small talk with people.
Exactly. So we're going to be taking a look at the weather in the United States. But before we get started with the dialogue, let's take a look at vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
Okay, so we have two words we're going to hear in the dialogue. Now, the first one is forecast.
Forecast.
Weather forecast.
So this is what we listen to or what we see on the television, the weather forecast.
Right, it's like the prediction of the weather.
Okay, so forecast, can I only use it in the weather?
No, of course you can use it in many other different situations, like in business, for example, forecast sales.
Okay, so the prediction of sales.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. And we have one more word on vocabulary preview, a shower.
A shower.
Shower.
Shower. So when it rains for a short time and it's not too heavy, that's a shower.
Okay, very good. So it's very similar to a shower at home.
Right, it
Like
doesn't-
a little bit of water.
And it doesn't last too long.
Okay,
Yep.
very good. So why don't we listen to our dialogue now? We are going to be listening to the weatherman as he describes the weather in Utah.
And now, let's go to Kenny Williams for today's weather forecast.
Thank you, Bill, and good morning, Salt Lake City.
What's the weather looking like today, Kenny?
Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag in Utah today. We've got heavy cloud cover here in northern Utah, and we're calling for scattered showers throughout the day, with a daytime high of 45 degrees. Now, if we move down to the south of the state, we can see that a cold front is moving in. We can expect clear skies, but it will be quite cold, with temperatures hovering around the 30-degree mark.
It's a chilly day, folks, so don't forget your coats. What about tomorrow, Kenny? Do you have good news for us?
Well, it'll be a rainy day for northern Utah. We can expect some isolated downpours in the morning. Winds will be coming in from the northeast, with gusts reaching 23 miles per hour. Salt Lake City can expect the rain to turn to sleet in the evening. Things are looking a bit better for the south. We'll see cloudy skies with a chance of showers. Later in the day, we can expect partly cloudy skies with a forecast high of 38 degrees.
You heard it, folks. It's going to be a cold one.
That's right, Bill. We'll have more later on today on the 6 o'clock news. That's the weather forecast for this morning.
All right, so we listened to the weather forecast, and it doesn't seem like nice weather in Utah, huh?
No, it certainly doesn't. I don't think that I'd really like to live there.
Well, maybe it's winter or something like that.
Well, I guess, yeah, maybe it's good for skiing.
Okay, so now I think it's time for us to take a look at some of those maybe difficult words that we may have listened to in this dialogue in Language Takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, here we're going to look at some words and phrases that you can use to describe the weather. Now, the first one, we heard in the weather forecast that they were calling for scattered showers.
Scattered showers.
Scatter.
Scattered. If something is scattered.
It's sort of like it's a little bit of that thing everywhere.
Okay. So, and we already talked about what showers were.
Right. So showers, a small amount of rain.
Okay, very good. To better understand when something is scattered, imagine that we are in a playground and the children are playing in the playground.
Okay.
So the children are scattered everywhere. Some of them are playing on the swing, some of them are playing on the grass or in the sandbox. So children, a little bit of children in every different spot.
So if we think that the city is a playground, maybe in one part of the city there's a little bit of rain, but not in the other part.
Exactly.
That's a scattered shower.
Very good. Moving on to our second word, we have hovering.
Hovering.
Temperatures hovering around the 30-degree mark.
The temperature is hovering around.
Okay, so when I say the temperatures are hovering...
You mean it's approximately.
Okay, so they can move up and down. So maybe it'll be a little bit warmer than 30 degrees or a little bit colder.
Yes. So if you think of hovering as floating.
Okay, very good. So why don't we listen to some more examples of how we could use hovering in different situations?
Example 1.
Unemployment rates are hovering around the 10% mark despite the government's attempts to stimulate the economy.
Example 2. The waiters kept hovering around us all night. It was really annoying. Example 3.
The company's margin this year is hovering around the 40% mark.
Okay, so pretty clear. Hovering is sort of floating around one area.
Very good. Now let's move on to the next part. We saw that we're going to have isolated downpours.
Isolated downpours.
Isolated downpours.
Okay, let's break this one down. Let's start with downpour.
A downpour is when you have a lot of rain, very strong rain.
That's right. For maybe a short amount of time, it's really raining heavily.
Right. So that's what a downpour is. And if we take a look at the first word, isolated.
So in one small area.
Okay, confined it to a specific area.
That's right.
Okay, so we have an isolated downpour. It'll be raining in one specific area.
And you hear this a lot with weather language. You hear isolated showers, isolated snowstorms.
Exactly, so it'll be in a specific area only.
All right, so along with these showers and rain, we also talked about wind, and we heard that we will have gusts reaching 23 miles per hour.
So we're going to have gusts reaching 23 miles per hour.
Gusts of wind.
Okay, so can you explain to our listeners what gusts are?
Okay, so a gust is a sudden increase in the amount of wind.
Okay, so maybe we'll have normal wind and all of a sudden it will get really windy.
That's right, for a short amount of time.
Okay, that's a gust.
G-U-S-T, gust.
Gust of wind. And for our final word on language takeaway today, we're going to have sleet.
Sleet?
Sleet.
All right, sleet is a terrible kind of weather. It's sort of a mixture between snow and rain.
So sleet is kind of this strange mix between ice and rain and snow. So just imagine, it's not completely ice, so it's not solid, but it's not water, right? It's not rain.
It's not snow either.
No, it's in the middle.
Okay.
All right, so sleet.
But what you really need to know is that it's terrible.
All right, so that's all the words we have today for language takeaway. Let's move on now to Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
All right, in Fluency Builder today, we're going to look at 3 phrases that are really common when you're talking about the weather. Now, we heard in the dialogue that there was a cold front moving in.
A cold front moving in.
A cold front is moving in.
Okay, so a cold front.
Imagine a wall of cold air. And it comes towards a place and then it changes the pressure in the atmosphere.
Okay, so a very sudden amount of cold air that comes into a place.
Right.
So we say a cold front is moving in.
So we always think of these cold fronts or warm fronts as moving. So you can either say they're moving in or you can say a cold front is coming in.
Okay, very good. And okay, we have a cold front that's moving in, and we're going to have winds that will be coming in from the northeast.
Okay, winds coming in from.
Okay, winds coming in from. So when I say it's coming in from...
You're talking about its origin, where it starts.
Okay, so if I change the noun and I don't say winds anymore, but maybe I'll say my friends. My friends are coming in from...
Chicago.
So they are arriving from Chicago.
Exactly.
What else can I say?
Or you can also say the kids are coming in from outside.
Okay, so where they were before. Very good. So coming in from, you can change the noun a little bit and you can form these new sentences.
Great. Now our final phrase, we heard the announcer say, it's gonna be a cold one.
It's gonna be a cold one.
It's gonna be a cold one.
So I have this phrase, it's gonna be a cold one. What do I mean by a cold one?
Okay, so the one represents the event, so the day.
Okay,
right?
So it's gonna be a cold day.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, we can obviously change the adjective, right? So it's going to be a hot one, it's going to be a long one, it's going to be a long day.
All right.
But the one can mean anything.
Okay, so it can be a day, it can be an event.
A meeting.
Okay.
A project. So, for example, if we're going to a meeting, I might say, hey, Marco, this is going to be a hard one.
Okay, so the one represents the meeting.
That's right.
This is going to be a hard meeting. All right, I think this is a very good phrase and it's very commonly used. So why don't we listen to some more examples of how we can use it's going to be a something one.
Example 1. Temperatures are forecasted to hit 37 degrees today. It's going to be a hot one, folks. Example 2.
It's only 8 a.m. and I've got 100 emails already. It's going to be a long one today.
Example 3. I haven't studied at all for the exam. It's going to be a tough one.
Okay, so some great examples, and I think it's time for us to listen to this dialogue again. And now we can understand all these words and phrases that we've just talked about.
And now, let's go to Kenny Williams for today's weather forecast.
Thank you, Bill, and good morning, Salt Lake City.
What's the weather looking like today, Kenny?
Well, it's a bit of a mixed bag in Utah today. We've got heavy cloud cover here in northern Utah, and we're calling for scattered showers throughout the day, with a daytime high of 45 degrees. Now, if we move down to the south of the state, we can see that a cold front is moving in. We can expect clear skies, but it will be quite cold, with temperatures hovering around the 30-degree mark.
It's a chilly day, folks, so don't forget your coats. What about tomorrow, Kenny? Do you have good news for us?
Well, it'll be a rainy day for northern Utah. We can expect some isolated downpours in the morning. Winds will be coming in from the northeast, with gusts reaching 23 miles per hour. Salt Lake City can expect the rain to turn to sleet in the evening. Things are looking a bit better for the south. We'll see cloudy skies with a chance of showers. Later in the day, we can expect partly cloudy skies with a forecast high of 38 degrees.
You heard it, folks. It's going to be a cold one.
That's right, Bill. We'll have more later on today on the 6 o'clock news. That's the weather forecast for this morning.
Okay, so we know that in English-speaking countries, the weather is always a great subject of conversation for small talk, right?
Exactly. If you ever want to talk to somebody or start a conversation, the weather is always the number one topic.
Yep. And we actually have a phrase in this dialogue that'd be great for starting a conversation. Like, for example, imagine if you lived here in Utah and you were, wanting to start a conversation with someone, you could say, "It sure is a cold one today, isn't it?"
Exactly. That's a great way of starting a conversation, and English-speaking people love to talk about the weather, as you say.
That's right. So, guys, if you have any questions about weather vocabulary, or if you want to practice talking about the weather, come to our website at englishpod.com.
Right. Erica and I are always there to answer any questions or doubts you may have. And also, if you have any stories about crazy weather, maybe in the countries you're from, let us know.
So, thanks for downloading, you guys, and until next time, goodbye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. Something that is spread all over an area.
Scattered.
Small balls of ice that fall from the sky.
Hail.
Small drops of water that float in the air.
Fog.
A very strong snowstorm.
Blizzard.
Light rain.
Drizzle.
To enter or arrive from somewhere.
Come in from.
A statement of what will happen in the future.
Forecast.
Describes when air is not clear because of fog or smog.
Hazy.
Stay near a certain level or place.
Hover around.
A collection of different kinds of things.
Mixed bag.
The amount of sky that is covered with clouds. Saying that some type of weather will happen.
Call for.
Rainfall in a short time.
Shower.
Leading edge of a cooler and drier mass of air.
Cold front.
Very cold.
Chilly.
Limited to one area.
Isolated.
Strong, sudden rainstorm.
Downpour.
Strong, sudden increase in wind speed.
Gust.
A mix of rain and snow.
Sleet.
Having some clouds and some sun.
Partly cloudy skies.
Let's try that faster. Strong, sudden rainstorm.
Downpour.
Something that is spread all over an area.
Scattered.
Leading edge of a cooler and drier mass of air.
Cold front.
Stay near a certain level or place.
Hover around.
A mix of rain and snow.
Sleet.
Very cold.
Chilly.
The amount of sky that is covered with clouds. Light rain.
Drizzle.
A very strong snowstorm.
Blizzard.
Rainfall in a short time.
Shower.
A collection of different kinds of things.
Mixed bag.
A statement of what will happen in the future.
Forecast.
Strong sudden increase in wind speed.
Gust.
Small balls of ice that fall from the sky.
Hail.
To enter or arrive from somewhere.
Come in from.
Having some clouds and some sun.
Partly cloudy skies.
Small drops of water that float in the air.
Fog.
Describes when air is not clear because of fog or smog.
Hazy.
Limited to one area.
Isolated.
Saying that some type of weather will happen.
Call for.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Scattered.
The children scattered in all directions when the teacher approached.
Scattered.
Your room is a mess. There is trash scattered everywhere.
Scattered.
I accidentally knocked over the plant and scattered dirt all over the floor.
Downpour.
I forgot my umbrella at home today, and a downpour just hit.
Downpour.
The weather here is terrible. You have downpours almost every day.
Downpour.
A massive downpour hit us Monday night, with 150 millimeters of rain falling in less than 3 hours.
Come in from.
I have a friend that is coming in from Brazil this weekend.
Come in from.
England has many migrant workers coming in from all over the world.
Come in from.
Mike is coming in tonight from his trip to Finland.
Forecast.
The president's forecast of the economy is very optimistic.
Forecast.
Based on our forecast of inflation, we made a small price increase to our products.
Forecast.
The weatherman's forecast is always wrong.
Hover around.
The temperature will hover around 0 degrees all week.
Hover around.
I wish he would stop hovering around me and just go away.
Hover around.
The company's margin this year is hovering around the 40% mark.